Now, the reality is that I got no apologies to make here. Sunderland are currently 4th in the Premier League. I predicted them to come last. Now, this is when you should be expecting me to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I really am sorry, I'm so stupid, how can I dare ever make a prediction? No! Now, I'm not saying that I'm the entire reason why Sunderland are 4th in Premier League in November, but what I am saying is, you're welcome. Now, the main kind of dialogue in the last 2 years, the main conversations and debates has been about how everyone sucks that comes up from the Championship. When in reality, this shouldn't really be the case. Like, for example, back in 2022-23 season, all 3 sides that came up that year stayed up. Nottingham Forest, of course, were the side that bought almost an entire club to stay up, but they did. But it's because of how, like, bad the other 2 seasons were for all sides involved is why this has become such a main talking point, and why I've talked about it a good length of time. But that's probably because I've got an invested interest in it, because I'm in it, and it's not fun. If you ever wonder what it's like to be in Premier League and just losing each week and you have some faint hope still because you're stupid, it's not fun. So comment down below your thoughts about the current situation. How do you feel about Sunderland? How do you feel about Burnley? How do you feel about even the sides that went down last year? If you're a Sunderland fan or a Grimsby, it doesn't really matter, just comment, feel free. Yeah, it's right there. I have a book for custom photo books made by myself, my new company. Check it out, use code launch for 20% off as well. And also Mazar Designs, my print company. I got companies. I'm trying things out. I'm trying my best here, boys. I'm trying to get a Ferrari or something, but I'm gonna end up with a Fiat Punto. So yeah, comment down below your thoughts, and let's get into the video. Burnley, Luton Town, Sheffield United, Southampton, Ipswich Town, and Leicester City. The last 2 years has been absolutely atrocious, despite the fact that at the start of the year, you kind of looked at the team thinking, maybe there's something there. I felt that way with Ipswich. I like Kieran McKenna. I felt they did buy some young players that thought that they could take a step up. Liam Delap and Amari Hutchinson could maybe make that step up, and there's a few others as well. Jack Clark, I remember being a main talking point. But you can't rely on youth potential to get anywhere. Burnley made that same mistake back in 23-24. We signed a ton of young players from Europe. You know, Wilson Odobert, Zeki Amdouni, Mike Trezor, players that you felt could take that step up. But it was just too much too soon. And what you ended up was a team that had really no experience at that level, that had some potential, some glimpses, but can never actually have the experience to see a game out. Because they have some quality, but they need to be part of a much more solid unit that knows each other, that fights for points, that has that know-how. Without that, you are a fish out of water, my friend. So what makes this year so different? Well, let's look at Sunderland. In theory, they should be in a similar boat. A lot of their players, for the most part, are, you know, fairly inexperienced to the league. You know, other than, of course, the main signing that was Xhaka and maybe 2 or 3 others. A lot of players in that team has never played at the Premier League, and a good chunk has never played at a top level, you know, a top 5 European League level. This is the first time. So how has this happened? That's why I put them bottom, because I felt like they were doing something very similar to what Burnley did. You know, Xhaka was, of course, a big outlier. And there's a few others there that you felt like, okay, like Ronaldo from Atletico Madrid. Of course, Mukiele came in the end. There's a few others that could take that step up, but maybe not. Like, for example, the best example of that is maybe a Bertrand Traore that you feel like, okay, El Broby, that you think, okay, like, they have some potential, but you don't really know. And the thing is, you will never really know, because if you do know, they cost a lot more money. That's the problem. But I gotta give respect to Régis Lebris, the most French name of all time. I hate France. No offense to my French people, but I've been to Paris. It's hit and miss at times. But yeah, credit to Sunderland. They're 4th Premier League. Now they could still go down. Yeah, it's too late now, isn't it? There's no way in hell. Because okay, let's talk about Burnley, my team. I think we've gone things in a better way. Scott Parker, of course, has had his critics, similar to Daniel Farker. Farker. It's not funny. Burnley has signed players like Kyle Walker. You know, Kyle Walker. You know, people from Twitter keep telling me that he's completely past it. Look, just because he's not good enough for Manchester City doesn't mean he's not good enough for Burnley. Let's make that very clear. And the fact is, he's still amazing. And people said he's slow. It's Burnley. he's still by far the fastest player we've ever had. There's a clip of him against Wolves that we were 1-1, I think the last 15 minutes, and we had a corner, it bounced back out, and one lad hoofed it up, and there was literally 2 lads through on goal. Got an interception in. He stopped them scoring, almost a Sutton goal, and we won the game in the end. That's the moments that matter. That moment of quality. Martin Dubravka. Even Newcastle fans are taking rather than Nick Pope now. Great piece of business. Florentino Luis. Liverpool wanted him like 2-3 years ago. So all I'm saying is Burnley have made different signings compared to what we did last time, and I'm glad to know and see that we've clearly learned from our mistakes. You know, we've signed 1 or 2 kind of young players that could maybe make the step, like Tishawana from Lazio, who again could be not, but we've got some players behind that, you know, could still also make. I mean, let's be honest, our team is by no means the best. We've still got players that still could be a maybe, like Jaden Anthony, like Zian Fleming, like even Ugochukwu still maybe to an extent, because, you know, he's still young, but there's a bit more experience there, which is a lot. Like, it makes so much difference. And then, of course, keep in mind there's Leeds, which Leeds is in a weird situation because I don't know what to think about them. They've signed some physicality. They've got some physicality in there. Attack-wise, it's hit and miss. They're still relying on Jack Harrison and Amundsen, as if we're still back in 2022. Jesse Marsh is still there. Calvert-Lewin, I don't think is actually a bad piece of business. But again, he's inconsistent and eventually he'll be injured again soon. Again, Pirol, similar to Zian Fleming. Like, could be not. And again, their attack is my main concern, because against Burnley, for example, they just seem to keep throwing it in the box over and over and over again. Midfield-wise, I don't think they're that bad. They've got some physicality, Longstaff and Stack and Ampadu. Like, they've got some like destroyers in there that can kind of break up play. Not too much kind of creative nous in there, but they can break up play. And at the back, they've signed this Biol, lad from Slovenia, that apparently is meant to be really good, but he's just not playing for some reason. Stroik and Rodon could be decent. Goodmanson seems like he could be decent, so they could be okay. Like, they've got some physicality there. They've got something to them that maybe they can stick in and out. If you're asking me who I think will go down the most between the 3 sides, I would say it's probably at this point Leeds. But I'm not going to say Burnley, am I? So I think you already know the answer to that one. But what helps is that there are other teams in the league that are god-awful. Like, god-awful. Wolves and West Ham I've already done a video on. I did a video on West Ham this week. Check that out. They're god-awful. Like, Wolves, again, when I look at their team sheet, other than like 2-3 players, you don't really know anything about them. They're from places in Europe, in Belgium, in France, you know, that could maybe make that leap, but you don't know. There's no real experience, where we've got a Kyle Walker and a Dubravka that have been in the league for countless years. You look at the Wolves team, there's really none of that. So they're all kind of somewhat young and inexperienced at this level. That's all kind of trying to figure it out while we go along, which is a bad combination to have. Keep in mind, Victor Pereira, who is their manager, have a look at his Wikipedia and look at his track record. They've gave this man a 3-year deal when they haven't won a single game all year, like a month ago. His track record isn't exactly that great. He joins like 3 clubs a season, it feels like. I don't know why they've done this. And then there's West Ham. Again, check out the video. They're not great. They're not great. They kind of are the opposite, where they've got experience in there. They've got players that know the league, but many of them are completely past it. Most of them just aren't even playing the right position. Almost every single role in that position is a question mark of, have they even got the right player in there? And they're very slow. They're very slow. I still feel like West Ham could still be alright. They got a goal scorer that can bag 10-15 goals in Jared Bowen if he gets the service. If he can get the service. That's the main issue right now. Set pieces, they can still make it work. Nuno, I don't think, is a bad manager. Maybe. But right now, it's not that great, like at all. And the fans are in a complete... It's toxic there, which is not a good combination. I think we're going to know how the sides are faring this year the most when West Ham played Burnley. Because Wolves played Burnley and Burnley beat them in the end, but it wasn't a great second half, I'll be honest with you. But West Ham beat Burnley. If Burnley beats them, I firmly believe that all 3 sides could stay up. Only issue is, I don't know who that 3rd side going down could be. Wolves and West Ham seem like they are the main obvious ones. But beyond that, I don't really know. Because I can't see Fulham and Brentford. They're finding some form now, despite everyone thinking, like myself as well, that they may have too much to expect to stay up. So I can't see all 3 sides staying up. But if 2 does, that'd be very impressive. So it could be, potentially, Wolves, West Ham, and maybe Leeds. But I remember last year, Southampton. South, Jesus Christ. I think they've won, I want to say 3 games in the last year. Like 365 days. Maybe it's 4 wins they've had now. And they've been in the championship for 2-3 months of that. They're like near the bottom. Like Southampton are currently near the bottom right now. This is the change as well. Keep in mind, look at the championship table. There's no of the sides last year in Premier League in the top 7, top 8, I believe. Leicester is the highest. I think Ipswich are like 12th. And Southampton like 18th, 19th or something. Will still came in, which is really just a meme from France more than anything else. And he's not done great. And it would be nice if this is a year that things could completely change. And that the 3 sides, at least 2 of them stay up and have a good fight of it. And then maybe you get 2 new sides from the championship. So that's my general thoughts right now. And it's exciting. Like we could maybe have a chance. So we could have like Coventry, Stoke City, and like Bristol City in the Premier League next year. I think there's even Charlton Athletic in there. Let me check. Wait, I swear to God. Charlton Athletic are in the top 6 of the championship as we currently speak. They beat Ipswich 3-0 away from home. Which when I saw that, I think I literally spat on the floor because I was just in complete disgust. I can go through all the stats and go through all the details, but in reality, you're not here for that. You're not on a Vizeh video for me to talk about the pure definitions of stats because that's boring. I'm here to tell you about a story I had when I was 8 years old that makes no relation to this video because I think it's funny. For example, story time with Vizeh. So, when I was younger, I, of course, liked football. I don't know where I'm going with this. So, yeah, okay, anyway. Actually, I do remember. I remember when I was younger, and I was playing for my Sunday league team, Barford Celtic, when I was like 9 years old. And when I went to the game, I completely forgot my shoes, my boots, and even my socks, because you got to bring your own socks. So I played the match with what I had a time to be... I wore Skechers, lads. I played a match with Skechers. I'm like 8 or something, so they don't really take it that serious, so I just played anyway. And I had the worst game of my life. Like, I truly and utterly embarrassed myself, and I threw those Skechers straight in the bin when I went back home. Like, I know that you were suspecting some kind of happy story that I wore some Skechers and I absolutely ran the pitch and scored a hat-trick. No, I completely and utterly embarrassed myself, and I remember going home actually, and I was upset, so I went to the shop and bought a big bag of tiny cheese Doritos and a kind of monster, and played Call of Duty all day. It turned out to be actually a good day in the end, actually. Right, so that's the video. Thank you for the love, and of course the green screen. I'm trying some new editing styles, and then maybe some different editors, just trying things out while I'm looking for the next step. I'm still not in England yet. I'll be in England on the 9th of November. And I got big news, I've just got a house as well. So expect that to be seen at some point online, preferably not outside my house. I don't want you to come to my house because you may actually murder me, especially if you are a fan of Chelsea Football Club or Manchester United or Spurs, or basically every club, because I've done a video about every single club sucking. But hey, I won't do a video about your club sucking if you don't suck. It's kind of self-explanatory. So yeah, don't come to my house, but I'll be coming to England soon, and thank you for the support, and I'll see you guys very soon. Look after yourself. Bye.